Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here presenting another of the easy free try hack me rooms. This one's called Ignite. New startup had a few issues with their web server. It's a room created by Darkstar. VPN has been joined, machine has been started, IP address in a variable, and we'll kick off an nmap scan, no ping, all ports except port 0. Do service discovery, safe script, output everything, nmap, gnmap, XML, reasonably fast, and pump our IP address in. Do that. While we're waiting for that to happen, just take some notes. Go nmap command in there, back to the scan. See, we've got port 80 open, and it's a web-based challenge, so good chance that's going to be our only port, or that and SSH, but we'll let the scan run its course and we will see. While that's running, I'm just going to start Firefox and start burp, and I'll leave that like I normally do, leave that sort of squirreling away in the background, capturing everything, and if we need anything in there later, we can come across and grab it. I'll leave intercept off. Yeah. Open that page. And while that's opening, we'll just drop back to our scan. Still scanning, but no change so far. What do we have? We have a landing page for Fuel CMS version 1.4, which has some instructions to change the apache.ht access file, install the database. Most importing that. After creating the database, change the database configuration found there. Once we get on the box, we'll definitely want to have a look at that, because odds are that's going to have some admin credentials in it somewhere. Files to make, folders to make writable, configuration changes, config PHP, that's also going to be something worthwhile looking at. Lots of good stuff in there, once we manage to find our way onto the box, of course. And also a link to the Fuel admin page and some default credentials. So I think we're probably going to be able to log in here straight away. Might end up being another one of those occasions where we're done before our scan finishes. What I will do though is just view the page source. What's that? That's just some CSS files, fonts, and some other stuff coming down from Google. Nothing sort of super interesting in there. A link to the Fuel admin page, the CMS. Yeah, so nothing particularly interesting in there, but let's drop back here and let's try those creds and see where we get. I'll change my password later. We can view our site documentation. We can see the pages that are set up. We can upload a file, of which we have no files so far, but we might be able to upload something. What I might do, actually just create a really simple PHP info page just to see if we can upload that and run it, and if we can, we might be able to get some fairly quick sort of command execution. Handy. So let's upload that. Yes, upload it. There was an error. Please make sure the server is set up to upload files. Okay, so back here, this talked about making directories writable, so maybe there aren't any folders that are writable so far, which would make sense. I wonder if we can create a page, maybe in the same situation actually, if it's there's an updated view located at some place. Maybe. Let's see what that does. While we're seeing what that does, let's go back here. That's nearly done. I wonder if we can view that. Can we view that? No, we can't. We already have an admin user who has permissions to everything. An activity log. Kind of not much there. Still doing that. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to happen, let's have a look and see if we've got anything for Fuel CMS and Search Point, which we do. So we've got remote code execution, 3 different types of remote code execution. 2 Python, 1 Ruby, blind SQL injection, another kind of authenticated SQL injection, and a third SQL injection. Those ones are probably less likely to be what we're looking for. So we know we've got version 1.4. So what we will do is go and have a look at one of these, which is a Python script, imports requests, does a bunch of stuff, tells you how to use it, connects if it can connect, and then adds this to the end of the main URL. So if we actually go to burp, and if we have a look in decoder and we decode this as URL, we can get on there what this is trying to do. And this is going to be a fairly standard PHP command injection by the looks. So that exploit should probably get us a nice web shell. Let's pop back, scans, nmap, initial nmap. Okay, so this is what we've got in our file. This is what is returned by nmap. There's a robots.txt file, so we have a look at that in a sec. That's already shows us what it's doing. It's saying don't have a look in a fuel directory, but that's exactly where we're going to be looking. Let's update our notes. So service is HTTP, and that is running Apache 2.4.18. It doesn't look like there's anything that we're going to be able to exploit manually in here, so I think this exploit probably looks like our best bet. So we'll grab a copy of the exploit and we will have a look at it. Didn't look like there was anything in here that we need to change, and it doesn't look like it's doing anything bad. We just provide the URL as we go, and that looks like it's going to be like we saw in burp. That'll be the command shell. Get out of that. We will point that at our server, and that looks like we have command shell. So we have unauthenticated remote code execution, which is pretty neat. We are in there as data. We are in the var HTML directory. Just going to move this off to the side a little bit so that my camera doesn't get in the way. So let's have a look at what we've got here. We've got robots.txt, which we found before. We come back to our initial landing page. There's a couple of directories in here that we probably want to go and have a look at. So we want to have a look in fuel install. No, that's going to be the base to set up. So what we probably want to have a look at is what's in this application config database.php. So if we go lsla fuel, so lsla fuel application, lsla fuel application config database.php. So let's copy that and let's go cat that database.php, have a look in there, and that gives us a whole bunch of useful information, but that gives us a username and a password, which is going to be very handy once we can get onto the box. Very handy. And we only had port 80 open, so we have to, I was thinking, I could just try that in SSH, but we can't. We have to actually, have to get onto the box somehow. So we have, certainly those are database credentials, and they are probably credentials that I would also try at the root account. Did we have that? No, we didn't. Cat. Yeah, that's just another file in here that I wanted to have a look at, which was config.php, and we'll just have a look and see what's in there. Lots and lots and lots and lots of things, but none of it particularly interesting. Okay, so what we need to do then is work on getting ourselves a better shell on this box. And first things first, let's see if we can write to this directory, which we can. So what might we try and do? Let's see if we can't stand up a Python web server on my machine. Let's see if we can't use wget info.php. See if we can't use wget to actually download that file from our machine. So what this is going to do is it's going to use wget. It's going to reach out to our machine at 10.4.54.4 and try and download php info.php, and it will hopefully output that into a file called php info.php. Okay, it's downloading that 25,000 times for some reason. For why, I don't know. Okay, so let's get php info.php and see what that says. php info.php 13. php info.php.13. Info, oops, rm php info.php star, just to kind of make that directory listing easier. Cool. So we've got our info php file there. Let's see if we can get that to run. Info.php. Cool. So we currently have remote code access, and we also have a way of uploading file into a directory that we can get to. So that is kind of perfect. So what we will do now is we'll grab one of the PHP web shells, cd. I wanted cp, user share web shells, php reverse. Over that here, we'll call that rev shell.php, and then we'll go and edit that. Put our IP address in there, and our port there. Save that, and then stand up netcat. Do listen. And then let's try this same thing again. We won't bother outputting it because it didn't. We won't bother specifying where it's going to write it because it just dumped it wherever it wanted to last time. So 10.5.54.4 rev shell.php. It's downloading that 100 times again. Let's have a look here. LSLA. Probably assume that that's going to be where it is, and it is. So let's move that to, let's just call that shell.php, and then let's rm all those rev shell.phps. No harm in being tidy. And it didn't delete them for some reason, because I don't know why. That's alright though. We'll come back here and let's run our shell. And then let's see if it worked. And it did. So we've got a terminal with no job control. We have Python 3. So let's spawn a beta TTY. And bash. I typed that correctly, which is always a bonus. Reformat that. Okay, so here we are, and who we are www. I don't have a password for that guy yet, but let's just see what we can do. Well, it's none of those. But if we find that file that we looked at earlier, which was fuel application config database.php, new. We're going to have a look for that in a minute. That'll be the thing that gets us either onto the SQL server, and then we might be able to exploit from there, or we'll try that password, and on the off chance that maybe that password works in home, data, that's going to be our first flag, so let's grab that. That worked, yes it did. Our thing is correcto. It's our directory that we got write access into, and we're able to put our files in before. Database.php gives us that, which is definitely the root password into the SQL server. Put the tables in system. Don't really know that there's going to be anything in there that's useful to us. Tables in there, no, not cat. Select star from your users. There is a salt and a password. Guess that will be our admin password. So I guess that is the salted MD5 of admin, which makes sense. So not a lot to see in here, but let's try that password here. Is that what it was? Me. Bear with me 1 second. Me. Yep. And that's pretty simple as far as privilege escalation goes. And this is why password reuse is bad. You can have a look at all manner of things in here, which is probably not something that anyone was expected to look at once they get to root, but I like to have a bit of a forage around. But in any case, let's grab our root text file, let's copy that over, and then let's call this room done. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.